Hello everyone, welcome to episode 21 of How to Play Like a WoW Pro. Today we're going to look at a replay on Karelia Assault Defense with the EBR. The first thing I think I want to talk about is something that I didn't really touch on in the last video, and that's about equipment. I mentioned that I like to run this loadout, rammer, vents, optics, and then vents directive on one loadout, and that I like to run CVS, vents, optics, and vents directive on another loadout in the EBR. But what you can also do is replace the CVS loadout with a CVS bounty low noise and then optics directive. So I thought I should just mention that as well, because just saying that there's only two usable equipment loadouts on the EBR is not really true in my opinion. But personally, I just prefer the vents CVS optics loadout. But let's talk about the matchup a little bit. I'm top tier, and so I'm thinking that I can play aggressive. Now on Karelia Assault Defense, there's an extremely aggressive play that you can make where you'll die probably 30 or 40% of the time just off the bat. Probably 30% off the bat, but you can die mid-game pretty easily as well. But this position that you can take is extremely strong. Like, I'm talking, this is probably the best opportunity to get 10k damage that you can possibly have. Like, if you can pick a map and a side in a medium tank, this is probably the best opportunity to get 10,000 damage in the game, possibly. And the reason why is because from this position here, which is the position I'm going to be taking, you can shoot anybody on this entire flank who gets spotted. So if your team pushes up to here, you can shoot them all in the back. And so for that reason, I'm bringing my rammer directive, my rammer equipment loadout, and I'm just going to push there immediately. Now whenever you do this play, you have to ask your team for support right away. You have to tell them that you're going to go here and then immediately go right away, because you can't waste any time. And then very often there's going to be one or two medium tanks or light tanks that are going to try to take the middle, either from this direction here or from this direction here. And so I decided to counter this location first because it's easy for my teammates to get shots on it. So I took this pathing here because I'm just fast enough to do that. I don't have to go directly here because I'm in an EBR. If I was in a medium tank, I would just gun it directly here. I wouldn't take any kind of weird pathing to try to sneak my way along. It's just not worth it. You just have to go right away. And what I was trying to do is spot tanks that come through this gap here, and then my team will hopefully just kill them right away. So that would eliminate basically half of the possible threats to me, because the immediate threat is that a tank from here will yellow you, or a tank from here will yellow you. And also, if a tank manages to sneak their way all the way into here, like a Manticore or something, then they can play in this area here, and it will just be a thorn in your side for the rest of the entire game, because whenever you get lit, you're just completely in the open for them, and they can just shoot you from over here. So you have to make sure that the entire middle is clear to be able to play this location well. And the exact position that you want to get to in the beginning is either below here or up here. If you can get up here, there's like a little hull down here, so you'll be mostly safe from snipers who play right here. But they do have a slight shot, so keep that in mind. It's not exactly a perfect position to play right here, but this will be a good position, as I'll show later, for other reasons, I guess. But I decided to start off low here, and I just want to counter their EBR as quickly as possible. So I load HE so that he's a 2-shot for me, and he has to die. There's nothing, I can't do anything with him still alive, so I have to kill him. Now it's possible that one of their tanks, especially like a Batchet, would come through here, and so what I'm doing here is very risky, but I feel like I have to do it in order to play the position. So I push up, I spot the guy, and then I kill him, and then I immediately get safe in this cover. And from here you're basically completely safe from either side, as long as they're not pushing up through the middle. Like you're safe from this position, and you're safe from these positions here, if you're sitting in this position correctly. But I accidentally overexposed a little bit too much, and their bad chat is pushed up really far. He's already all the way over here. So that's a mistake by me. And what you'll oftentimes see is after the initial engagement where you counter the enemy scouts and medium tanks who are deciding to take middle, you'll be pretty safe. But then the only problem is there's very often a tank destroyer who's playing up here, who sees you get lit here in the beginning, and it's just their life mission to kill you, and they'll do anything to kill you. Like they'll literally just drive over this rock and just push into you. And that's the main way that I die here in this position. And there's not really much you can do about that. You just have to hope that your teammates kill him before he kills you. And oftentimes that will happen. Like, your team, since he's completely in the open, if he pushes over here, your team will usually kill him very quickly. But that's why it's very important that you ask your teammates for assistance, because if you have no one covering you, then you're just gonna die, and there's not much you can really do about it. That's why this play is especially good when you're in a platoon, so that you can have your two platoon mates cover you. Now here, why am I not staying here? Because eventually when my teammates push up, I'm going to have shots on the side here. So why am I not playing up here where I have higher elevation to get shots? Well, the reason why is I'm afraid I'm going to get YOLO'd, and so I move out a little bit so I can't get proxies from up on the hill, and I'll be able to spot tanks that are pushing through here early. Because I'm expecting their batchet to have rotated down, and I'm expecting him to YOLO me, because people just love to YOLO this position. And I guess for good reason too, because if you just allow the enemy to use this position, they're just gonna kill your entire team, basically. So right now I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm waiting for tanks to get lit up here. Over here. When tanks do get lit over here, then I'll go back to my initial position and I'll try to snipe them. But until then, I decide to just sit safe. But now that this IS-3's lit, I'm gonna go for some shots. And this is what I was saying about this position being useful. The reason why this position is useful is you can get higher elevation. Now here I should have probably just loaded heat because I would have been able to pen his entire side, but I was afraid he would get in cover, so I decided to just go for the riskier shot with APCR. Now the unfortunate thing about this replay is the enemy team only sent one tank to a position that I can actually shoot. But as you're gonna see, it doesn't actually end up mattering really, because I'm gonna find shots elsewhere. Now here I move up because I know this T-95 is gonna cross and I want to spot him. But as soon as I fire, I'm assuming that I get lit, and I just want to get completely safe because I'm a one-shot and I really don't want to die here, because this game has huge potential. Because I'm like in their spawn basically, and I just have side shots for days. So here I'm just going for side and rear shots on these guys. But I'm still aware that they might have tanks on the hill. Especially if you look, their RHM and SU are unlit. And actually they just have like 8 tanks unlit, so I'm being aware of that fact. So now I'm like exploring the hill just a little bit, checking around to see if anybody's still up here. And as it turns out, their Astron Rex is still there. But that's another thing that you can do from this area in general, is you can counter this position here, and this is a very common position. Now here I'm thinking about going for the Astron Rex, but I kind of want the SU to die first, but I decide to risk it because I have very quick reverse speed. So I shoot him and then I just immediately gun it down the hill and get into cover. And I get completely safe because I really don't want to die right now. Because I know that once they start pushing through our base and onto our cap, I'm going to be able to play these middle bushes here and spot them for my team and shoot them myself as well. Now right here, it's very important that we win the hill, because the hill is what will allow us to get resets, and it will also take us out of a crossfire, because if they keep the hill, then they can just spot us, and then the tanks that are playing over here will be able to shoot us. So I'm just hoping that my team will push through and take out the hill. And they do, eventually. But in the meantime, I'm just farming away and getting a lot of spotting as well. Now I'm aware of the fact that I am exposed if anyone were to come in this area here, but I don't really expect that. What I'm more anticipating is somebody coming behind me through here, because their Batchet was last seen running, and their SU is also around that area. So I'm kind of keeping that in the back of my head, and if it happens, there's a decent chance I'll die, but I'm deciding to risk it for now, because there's a lot of farm to be had. And here, the SU actually does get spotted behind me, and it's kind of lucky that he doesn't light me. He probably doesn't have enough view range, even at 220 meters. The SU is a TD, and TDs generally have very bad base view range. Here I can't find a penning shot, but I find a shot on his engine deck, and it actually pens. And now we're in the situation that I was anticipating, where we have the hill, and then they took our base. And this is where I can just get so much combined damage just by using these bushes here. And you'll notice I'm double bushing after every shot just to be safe. Even though there's a good chance they wouldn't even spot me regardless at this range, but I'm not gonna risk it. And this AMX is actually out of render, I think, for my teammates, because otherwise they would be shooting him. But the Maushin isn't. And in general, what I would say about this position is even if you die in the early minutes of the game, oftentimes you're going to get 2,000 to 3,000 spotting on enemy tanks. So if you're going for marks, it's actually not as big of a risk as you would think, because even though there's a good chance you'll die, even if you do die, very often your mark won't be completely obliterated. It's not like you're going to do 0 combined. You're going to get like 2 to 3k spotting, usually minimum, along with any damage you manage to do. Now here I'm just looking for a better angle on the Maushin in order to pen him. I'm still worried about tanks being behind me, but I decide to risk it. And there's basically very little chance that the enemy's going to be able to cap in this kind of situation. Now here, I was thinking that I was going to just kind of explore this area in order to try to spot where their Batchet is, but I actually end up finding their AMX, and I'm not sure if I'm spotted right now, so I just assume that I am, and I close the distance. Now here, he actually turns quicker than I expected him to, so he could have killed me there, but I get lucky and he doesn't shoot. Now here I'm hoping to bait him around the corner and get one free shot in and then escape. But I'm in a very bad position right now, and I really just want to get out of here. But unfortunately their Batchet was playing up here, so he had a crossfire on me and I couldn't make it work. Which is really a shame, because I feel like I could have gotten... They had like 2,000 HP left. I feel like I could have gotten most of that and won this game for my team. Let me check for the screenshot real quick. I don't know if I took it or not, so I might have to pause here and look for the screenshot. Here we go. So here was the battle results for this game. I did 6,200 damage, 3,400 spotting. Here's the next end plate, and here's how much credits I made. I'm pretty sure I lost credits. Yeah, I lost 60k, but I went 17 out of 21 for shots, which isn't bad. But anyways, I hope I taught you something about how to play Karelia Assault Defense in medium tanks and light tanks. Don't feel like you have to make this play in every battle, by the way. I would recommend doing this if you're top tier and you're feeling like you can handle yourself here. Like especially if you're in something like a 1-2-1B where you have a little bit of armor and you think you can 1v1 whatever medium tank yellows you from here. But you can always just play it safe on this map, and there are other options like just sniping or pushing this flank. But really, if you're wanting to get huge games, then this is the position I would recommend. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.